If you're a coach or consultant struggling to gain traction on LinkedIn, I can almost guarantee that the problem isn't your content, your posting frequency, or your engagement strategy. The problem might be actually in your niche. You're either too broad, trying to serve everyone, or you've chosen a niche that doesn't actually align with your expertise, your passion, or the market demand. And when your niche is wrong, everything else just becomes so much harder. Because here's really the truth. Your niche is the most important decision that you'll make on LinkedIn. It determines who you attract, what you're known for, how much you can charge, and whether you can actually dominate your space. So get your niche right, and everything else, your content, your positioning, your lead gen, everything becomes easier. But get it wrong, and you'll spend years spinning your wheels. So in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to choose your LinkedIn niche. You're going to learn a tactical framework for evaluating potential niches and selecting the one that's actually profitable, sustainable, and aligned with your strengths. This is the same niche selection process that I used to build a presence with over 55,000 followers while generating more than 10 million impressions on LinkedIn in the last year alone. And it's the same framework that's helped our clients to dominate niches, attracting premium clients while building authority. So by the end of this video, you'll have clarity on your niche and a clear path forward. And you can see on screen here the 55,000 followers that I amassed all organically, the 10 million impressions that I drove last year alone. So with all of that said, let's start with the core problem here, which is based around the fact that right now, you're probably in one of two situations. Either you're too broad trying to serve everyone, or you're in the wrong niche serving a market that doesn't align with your expertise, your passion, or the demand. Now, if you're too broad, the challenge is that your messaging becomes generic. So your LinkedIn headline says something like, I help business owners grow, or I help entrepreneurs succeed. But that doesn't resonate with anyone because it could apply to anyone. Now, when you're too broad, you also become forgettable because you're competing with thousands of other people who just say the same thing. And you're not then attracting premium clients because they can't tell if you're actually the right fit for their specific problem. So if you're in the wrong niche, then you're struggling in a different way. Maybe you chose a niche because you thought that it'd be profitable, but you don't actually enjoy serving that market. Or maybe you chose a niche that aligns with your passion, but then there's no demand. Nobody's actually willing to pay for what you offer. So either way, you end up being stuck because you're working hard, not seeing results. Now, here's the truth. The right niche sits at the intersection of three things: your expertise, your passion, and market demand. Now, when you find that intersection, everything starts to click because you're serving people you enjoy actually working with, and you're solving problems that you're uniquely qualified to actually solve. And there's a market willing to pay premium prices for that solution. So how do you choose the right niche? What's the framework for evaluating potential niches and then making the right decision? That's what we're going to break down in the next 3 steps here. So step number 1 is to use the 3-circle framework. So this is really the foundation of niche selection. Your ideal niche actually sits at the intersection of 3 circles: your expertise, your passion, and your market demand. So let me break down each circle. Now, circle number 1 is your expertise. So this is what you are uniquely qualified to help with. So think about what skills, knowledge, or experience do you have that others don't, right? What have you done successfully that you can teach or replicate for others? So for example, I've built multiple 7-figure businesses using LinkedIn as my primary lead generation channel. I understand the platform, the algorithm, and the strategies that work. That would be an example in that case. Now, circle number 2 is then your passion. So this is what you genuinely enjoy doing, right? What type of work actually energizes you? What problems do you find interesting to solve, and who do you enjoy working with? So for example, I love helping consultants and coaches build authority and attract inbound leads. I get excited about positioning, content strategy, and thought leadership. That could be an example there. Now, circle number 3 is then market demand. So this is what people are actually willing to pay for, right? So what problems are people actively trying to solve, and what outcomes are they willing to invest in? What's the size and the buying power of the market? For example, coaches and consultants who are actively looking for a way to generate high quality leads without cold outreach, they're willing to pay premium prices for a solution that works. So your ideal niche is one where all of these 3 circles overlap. So let me give you some examples. In the first example, let's say that the person's focus was LinkedIn authority for consultants. The expertise would be, I built a 55,000 follower LinkedIn presence and generated over 10 million impressions. The passion would be, I love helping coaches and consultants to build authority and attract inbound leads. And then the market demand would be that coaches are tired of doing cold outreach and willing to pay for LinkedIn authority solutions. Now that's a strong niche because all three of those circles overlap. Now in this second example, we'll touch on sales training for B2B SaaS, for example. So the expertise could be that I've closed $10 million in B2B SaaS deals and trained sales teams. The passion could be I love teaching sales professionals how to close high ticket deals. And the market demand could be that B2B SaaS companies are always looking for sales training to increase close rates. Again, all three of those circles overlap. Now, example number 3 could be someone who does coaching for financial planning for high net worth families, for example. So the expertise could be I'm a certified financial planner with 15 years of experience. The passion could be I love helping families to protect and grow generational wealth. And the market demand could be high net worth families who are actively seeking trusted financial advisors. You can see this is a strong niche. Now here's the tactical exercise. I want you to draw these 3 circles on a piece of paper. Label them expertise, passion, and market demand, and then fill in each circle with your answers and then look for where the overlap is, because that's where your potential niche is. But here's the key. If there is no overlap, then you might need to adjust here, right? If you have expertise and passion but no market demand, then you need to find a different application of your skills. If you have expertise and market demand but no passion, then you end up burning out. So the overlap is where you find a sustainable, profitable niche, right? Now, the second step here is to get specific with the niche formula. So once you've identified the overlap in the 3-circle framework, you now need to articulate your niche clearly. And the way that you do that is with this formula. I help who achieve what through how. So let me break down each component. The who, this is your ideal client, right? So get as specific as possible, not just business owners or entrepreneurs. Who exactly are they? What's their role, their industry, the stage of their business, right? So for example, if we were talking about B2B SaaS founders at the $1 to $5 million ARR stage, or it could be financial advisors who specialize in high net worth clients, or health and wellness coaches with a proven offer. Now the what, this is the outcome that you actually deliver. So what specific result do they actually get from working with you, and what transformation do they experience? So for example, it could be generating 50K per month in revenue from LinkedIn, or attracting 10 plus high net worth clients per year, or building a 20K per month coaching business. Now then the how, this is the method or your differentiator. So think about what's your unique approach, what makes your solution different from everyone else's. For example, through organic LinkedIn authority without cold outreach or paid ads in my case, or it could be through strategic positioning and thought leadership content, or it could be through a proven 90-day authority blueprint, right? So when you put all 3 of these components together, that's when you have a clear, specific niche statement. So I'll give you some more examples here, right? So example number 1, when you piece all of this together, could be I help B2B SaaS founders at the $1 to $5 million ARR stage to generate 50K per month in revenue from LinkedIn through organic authority without cold outreach or paid ads. So can you see how specific that is, right? You know exactly who you serve, what outcome they deliver, and then how they do it. Another example here could be, that's a bit more specific, I help financial advisors who specialize in high net worth clients to attract 10 plus premium clients per year through strategic LinkedIn positioning and thought leadership content. Again, it's crystal clear, right? Now, example number 3 could be I help health and wellness coaches with a proven offer build a 20K per month coaching business through a 90-day LinkedIn authority blueprint, no cold DMs and no paid ads. You can see that's specific and compelling, right? So the tactical exercise for you here is to use the niche formula to write your niche statement. Now you'd fill in the blanks with I help who achieve what through how. This then becomes your positioning statement, and it really becomes the foundation of your LinkedIn headline, your about section, and all of your content. And here's the key. If you can't articulate your niche clearly using this formula, then that's a signal that it's just too vague. So go back to the 3-circle framework and get more specific, right? Now, step 3 is then to validate your niche with 3 tests. Once you've defined your niche using the 3-circle framework and the niche formula, you need to make sure it's actually viable. And the way that you do this is running it through 3 tests: profitability, accessibility, and scalability. So test number 1 is, again, profitability. So can your ideal client afford to pay premium prices, right? Do they actually have the budget to invest in your solution? Because here's the reality, not all niches are equally profitable. If you're serving solopreneurs who are just starting out, they may not have the budget for your high ticket services. But if you're serving established business owners or executives or professionals with proven revenue, they can afford to pay premium prices. So ask yourself, does my ideal client have the financial capacity to invest 5K, 10K, or 20K in a solution? If the answer is no, then you need to adjust your niche, right? Target a more established segment of the market. Now, test number 2 is accessibility. Can you easily reach your ideal client on LinkedIn? Are they actually active on the platform? Can you find them, engage with them, and get in front of them? Because here's the reality, some niches are easier to reach on LinkedIn than others. For example, B2B professionals, consultants, coaches, execs, and founders, they're all active on LinkedIn. But if your ideal client is a stay-at-home parent or a high school student, they may not necessarily be on LinkedIn as much, and that could make it harder for you to reach them. So you need to ask yourself, is my ideal client active on LinkedIn? Can I find them by searching for their job title, industry, or company? If the answer is no, you may need to adjust your niche or choose a different platform. Although with that said, there's 1.2 billion people on LinkedIn, so there's a very, very high chance that they do live on the platform, and maybe you just don't know it right now. Now, the third test is scalability. So is there enough demand in your niche to build a sustainable business? Is the market large enough to support your revenue goals? Because here's the reality, some niches are just too small. If you're targeting vegan yoga instructors in Austin, Texas, that could just be too narrow. There might only be 50 people who fit that description. But if you're targeting health and wellness coaches in the US, it's obviously a much larger market, even if you start to find a particular pocket or niche within that market. So ask yourself, are there at least 10,000 people who could fit my ideal client profile? Is the market large enough to support my revenue goals? If the answer is no, then you need to broaden your niche slightly. So here's how to apply these 3 tests. So let's say that your niche is I help B2B SaaS founders at the $1 to $5 million ARR stage to generate 50K per month in revenue from LinkedIn. Profitability would be a yes, because SaaS founders at this stage have the budget to invest in lead gen solutions. Accessibility is also a yes, because SaaS founders are active on LinkedIn and they're easy to find by searching for their job title and industry. And scalability is also yes, because there are thousands of B2B SaaS companies at this particular stage in the US alone. So that's a validated niche. All 3 tests are passed. So here's the tactical exercise for you. I want you to run your niche through these 3 tests. If it passes all 3, then you're good to go. If it fails 1 or more tests, then adjust your niche until you find that it passes. So now let's put all of this together, right? Now you've got the framework here. The first step as a refresher is to use the 3-circle framework. Identify the overlap between your expertise, your passion, and market demand, and then that becomes your potential niche. The second step is to get specific with the niche formula. So articulate your niche clearly. I help who, achieve what, through how. The third step is to then validate your niche with the 3 tests. Make sure that it's profitable, accessible, and scalable. And here's what this looks like in practice. Let's say that you're a coach or consultant trying to find your niche. During that first step, the 3-circle framework, your expertise could be that you built multiple 6-figure businesses and understand sales funnels. The passion could be that you love helping service-based businesses scale without ads. And the market demand could be service-based businesses are actively looking for ways to scale organically. The overlap could then be helping service-based businesses to scale organically. Now, the second step would then be the niche formula. I help service-based business owners at the 100 to 500K revenue stage scale to $1 million plus through organic LinkedIn authority without paid ads or complex funnels. Then the third step would be your 3 tests. Profitability is yes, because all business owners at this stage have the budget to invest. Accessibility would be a yes, because business owners are active on LinkedIn. And scalability would be yes, because there are thousands of service-based businesses at this particular stage of growth. So that's a validated niche, and now you're ready to build your LinkedIn presence around it. And here's what happens when you get that niche right. Your messaging becomes clear, your content becomes a lot more focused, and your ideal clients start recognizing you as the expert for their specific problem. So you're no longer competing with thousands of generic coaches, you're the go-to person for your niche, and that's where your LinkedIn presence actually becomes a client generation engine. Now, before we wrap up here, I want to call out 3 common niche selection mistakes that will kill your results. So I want to make sure you avoid these, and you'll save yourself months or years of wasted effort, really. So the first mistake is choosing a niche solely based on profitability. And this can be a big mistake, because if you choose your niche solely based on it being profitable, but you've got no expertise or no passion for it. For example, if you decide to serve real estate agents because you heard that it's a lucrative market, but you've never actually worked in real estate and don't enjoy working with agents, here's what's going to happen. You struggle to create content because you don't actually have the deep insight. You'll struggle to attract clients because you're not actually credible. And then you'll burn out because you're not actually passionate about the work. So the solution is to make sure that your niche passes all three circles: expertise, passion, and market demand. Don't choose a niche just based on money alone. Mistake number 2 is being too broad, right? This is the second most common mistake. People will say, I help business owners grow, or I help entrepreneurs succeed, but that's not actually a niche. That's just everyone. So when you're too broad, you become forgettable, and no one thinks of you when they have a specific problem. So the solution here is to use the niche formula to get specific. Define exactly who you serve, what outcome you deliver, and how you do it differently. Mistake number 3 is being too narrow, and this is the opposite mistake. People get so specific that their niche is too small. For example, I help female vegan yoga instructors in Austin build their Instagram following, right? That might only be 20 people. So the solution is to run your niche through that scalability test, right? Make sure that there's at least 10,000 people who fit your ideal client profile, and if not, broaden your niche slightly. Avoid these 3 mistakes and your niche selection process will be much, much smoother. So as a reminder, do not choose a niche solely based on profitability. Don't be too broad and don't be too narrow at the same time, right? And so when you get all of this right, what will happen is you'll find that your messaging is going to become a lot clearer. You'll know exactly who you serve, the problem you solve, how you do it differently, and then you'll have congruency with your LinkedIn headline, about section, and all of your content, because it's all going to communicate a clear, focused message. And when your message is clear, your ideal clients immediately recognize that it's you talking to them. The second part is that you'll become the go-to expert in your niche because you're actually focused on a specific market. That way you can go deep because you're going to understand their pain points, their objections, their language, and then you can create content that actually resonates. And then that way you're going to engage in conversations that matter. And over time, you become known as the expert for that specific niche. The next part is that you attract premium clients consistently. So when you dominate a niche, you don't compete on price. You really compete on expertise. Your ideal clients, they're not comparing you to other options because they're thinking, basically, this person is the expert for my specific solution. And that's when price objections really disappear and your close rate will skyrocket. This is the exact same process that I've leveraged all the way up until now to build my presence to over 55,000 followers on LinkedIn, while generating over 10 million impressions last year alone, with also over 100 million impressions for our clients, including a recent client that went from 150 followers to over 4,000 followers in only 30 days, helping them to attract premium clients consistently. So this framework does absolutely work, but you do need to commit to that niche. You need to use the 3-circle framework and use the formulas that we've covered to create a path for you actually dominating on LinkedIn. Some of the results that I just mentioned that it can lead to, you can see on screen here, over 70 million impressions for a client, over 4,000 followers in only 30 days. So if you actually do want some support in accelerating these results, a system that actually helps you to define your niche, position you as the go-to expert, and to build a LinkedIn presence that will attract premium clients, what you will need is a full LinkedIn media engine, a done-for-you system that actually handles your positioning, your content strategy, and your engagement in a way that establishes you as the authority in your space. The same approach that's driven over 100 million impressions for our clients. So with all of that said, if you want a full breakdown of how that's actually done, you want me to send that over, I want you to drop a comment below with the word niche. Just drop a comment below with the word niche. I'll get that sent over to you as a completely free breakdown so you can get a better understanding for how that would actually work. And then once you've got it, go through it and let me know what you think about it. So again, comment the word niche below. Outside of that, I hope you found the video helpful, useful, and valuable. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one.